Hello folks, welcome to Cornbelt Farming Simulator 17, an app made by Caster. I believe he's a German mapper modder. Well, it's kind of a beautiful morning on Cornbelt here. We've fast forwarded to tomorrow after the fiasco we experienced kind of at this at our fabric factory, and there's a fix that I made in this map that I wanted to go to kind of at the get-go to share in case any of you ever run into this. Perhaps I mentioned it in a previous episode. As you look at the train, you know, we all know there's this thing called the dreaded viewing circle or whatever, which is the place where the foreground fades to the background, if you will. So a lot of times, you know, we will see it when we're in a vehicle. Maybe I could switch to one here to where, you know, I've got it set up pretty far out. If you see clear up here, you can kind of tell there's more detail here, and then in the background it kind of fades and it's less detail. And I don't know if you remember from the previous version that we had, but the viewing circle, and here you can see it on the train. I can't really get my mouse cursor out to be able to show it to you quite like I can on another vehicle, because course play doesn't apply to trains and allow me to use a mouse. But right at the edge of the trees, you can see them way high up here on the vehicle camera for the train. And right to the front of the nose of the train, right at the edge of those trees, you can kind of see as I move it here, as the track fades in and out, is the edge of the viewing circle. Now I think dead ahead in the field is corn, and I think it's withered corn. We could just pull up the map and we could see for sure. Yeah, down here is where we are. Field number 20 is what we're looking at. It's corn. And like I say, I'm pretty sure it is withered. Yeah, withered and also still damaged from a hailstorm that we had in here previously. So there is stalks of corn, but because of the distance that we're at, we're unable to see it. If we were to hop in cab, oh, it's still, well, yeah, there we can see it out there. You see the corn standing up there. But when we're out of cab, we're not able to see it. Well, the problem I was running into before is whether it was the cornfield over here, which we could kind of sift around here. So now you see it kind of coming in the camera, and you can see the edge of where the snow appears. And in the past, I had the corn or the snow appearing at the same distance as all the foliage. And the trouble I was running into is when you would be looking out on this field, like straight ahead, you know, where there's basically nothing in it. I think there's a little something planted in there. Maybe if we went down, we could see the start of yeah, there is a little bit of foliage. But basically, when you're up this high, what you should see is nothing but white. And that is now what we see. Previously, there was a little band of foliage between the snow and kind of the distance textures of the snow that kind of, it just looked confusing and out of place. I mean, you kind of want that, and it's the game's attempt to blend, if you will, kind of blend the foreground into the background. Just some of the mechanics of the game. But it was always annoying, you know, when you look around here and all you see is snow, which should be all you see, and you would have this annoying little patch of foliage showing up on the edge of the viewing circle. And I think I got rid of it. And I want to show you how I did it so anybody else can do it too. It takes a little work in the map's i3D file, which we'll switch to here. This is the Cornbelt map, the map01.i3d file. You can open it in a text editor. And where I went is down here in the foliage multi-layer section just below the at. You'll have all the crops in the map here, the wheat, grass, corn, potatoes, and so forth. And anything else, the snow mask, it isn't in there, as intuitive as that may seem. Where it is it's down here in this line called terrain detail height. It's in a detail layer. The one right above it, I think, is for the terrain itself and the dirt, the plowing, the cultivating, and all that, how it appears. The terrain detail height in Farm Sim 17 was for fill types, if you will, that get poured onto the ground. Whether it's a truckload of corn that gets dumped somewheres, or whether it's snow. The Seasons mod happened to make use of this feature of Farm Sim 17. So really what you see with all that snow is really a fill type that is overlaying the map. That's kind of mechanically speaking what the game is doing. So where that has happened, or where that is handled, if you will, is in this terrain detail height. So one thing I fixed in here is in a section called view distance. There we go. You'll notice up here on the crops, the viewing distance is 120. And that is 120 meters. So when you want the snow to appear kind of at the exclusion of the foliage, you want to set the distance higher. So I put the snow down here, or actually it isn't just snow, it would be for any tip type, the lands on the map. I put it at 150 meters. So this will overshadow the others up here by a good 30 meters. Probably could be tighter than that. And at some level, you got to be careful to see if your machine your computer is powerful enough to handle it so it can properly render it. What you're saying is the snow is in the foreground by 150 meters. And whereas if you say put 20 meters, you would see the viewing circle tighten up and be much smaller. So anyway, I set it at 150, which is over the 120, but you really need to do it in one other place. This isn't enough. There is the material to take care of. This is in the detail layer, but the material is what's put on it. So we look for the material ID right here, which says it's 224. I'm just going to copy that, and we will search for it in the map. And it should take us, it does, up here. Ground detail height material. And it's going to have a line in here called alpha blend start and end. Now, previously, I think it was similar to other materials in here. You'll see down here is grass material is the values between 110 and 115. I think that is a 5 meter band where the foreground is blended a little bit to fade into the distance textures of the background. And it's the 5 meter band is what we were seeing of the foliage before. When you have a foliage band that's under the snow, and then you have the snows band, or the crown detail height type, the tip type, if you will, that's fighting with it. So you'll see it's 110 to 115. And down below we just saw that the view distance was raised to 150, so I am fading it from 150 to 155. This is obviously more than the 110 to 115, which all the other crops I think have in here. We could just look at 110, 115, that's potato. There's another one for grass. That must be a different type of grass. I don't know if there's any others in here. Okay, sunflower. Yeah, 110 to 115. So I moved the tip types to 150 to 155. So the goal was to put the viewing circle for the tip type materials beyond the foliage materials so we could get rid of that annoying foliage strip. And I think we were successful. If you look at our viewing circle, and I'm sorry, maybe I'm spending too much time on this, but I like visually how this looks better than it did before, which just had that annoying band of foliage kind of following the viewing circle. So that's enough on that. The problem we have, or I say I'm just cycling through some of my equipment here to get out to, yeah, here we go. We had ourselves a major problem here at this area. This is the fabric factory, and in the prior episode, I hauled some wool down here from our sheep, and I think I need to go pick up another load of it. And managed to get myself stuck. Note to self, don't try to go over even the smallest snow berms. It's better to blow it out of the way before attempting it. Well, I didn't do that, and instead I attempted to roll over it, and it was a disaster. So I picked up some of the fabric here. It wasn't enough for a full load. I actually accidentally picked up a couple nearly empty pallets. You know, of course, when the factory makes stuff, it's going to first set out an empty pallet and fill it. I am pretty sure, except I can't see it when I do that. I am pretty sure there is a little bit of material actually on here if we looked at it, but it hasn't grown big enough on the rolls to make a difference. So I am going to hop out of the tractor here and jump into the truck. And what I don't remember, I think I was looking last time, we're at the fabric factory. Do we have any route set up between here and the sell point? I'm not sure we do. Yeah, I think it's only sheep. Probably if we have the sheep thing here to get it down. Yeah, sheep to fabric mill. That was the incoming, and I wish there was a way to just reverse it easily, but I'm not aware of a way to do that. So, I think what I'm going to do is just make a new route, and we'll take it up to the sell point. Well, shoot, even as I say that, I maybe need to be careful with that because it's covered by snow up there. So really, I probably need to take this tractor up there and smooth it all off and create a path. So, this making a course play is probably something that should be done when the weather is decent, and right now, this is not the time to do it. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to drive up there like a good feller, and we'll get close, and I'm going to, let me see here, I may need to, this tractor, how am I going to get that up there? I don't know that I can follow myself, but maybe I can. I kind of think I do have the follow me mod on. Let's see if I can go around the gate. I did. And we'll take this up here, crank her up, and we'll see if we can follow closely behind our truck and hopefully stay out of trouble. Of course, it's going to follow the truck, follow distance. Oh, and now it's going to push on it. Yeah, see, the trouble is the follow distance is 20 meters, but I have the two trailers on here, so that makes it longer than the 20 meters. I'm going to hop out there and head back to the truck and get a move on. And with a little luck, well, we'll just get on the road and see if we can... Okay. There, it's tracking. There, it's coming. I think I mentioned last time that, this map is so large that if a person wanted to use it as a truck simulator versus farming simulator, it probably would provide enough area for a person to do that if this had some major roads. Something I've always been, and of course it doesn't, but something I've been curious about is, when map mods are built and when pictures are made, you know, such as the store photos or those kinds of things in game. I think most modders realize these need to be in the dimensions of 2 to a power of something for pixels. And so 2 to the power of something means, you know, 2 to the 1 would be 2, 2 to the 2, that's 2 squared would be 4, you know, 2 cubed would be 8, and so forth. And so you start getting up to numbers like 256, you know, next one would be 512, 1024, 2048. Well, this is also done in the dimensions or the pixels of the DEM map. You know, the DEM map is the elevation map that underlies the map here. So all the hills that you see, that's a DEM map. And I think for a 16x map, it's I believe it's 2 meters per pixel. And so you have a DEM map that is 8,192 pixels per side. So you multiply that by 2, and you have, that's where you get over the 16,000 or the 16x type map. But what I've wondered is, you know, you always have to have it 2 to the power of something. And oh, look at that! We outran our tractor. Okay, well, that isn't going to work. I'm going to need to go get him later. We'll just try to lost my momentum to get over this hill. Yeah, follow me, I think, quits or gives up at a certain point, and it looks like we reached it. Anyway, this map is square-shaped, as is pretty much every single farming sim app that I've ever seen. And I'd be curious in the comment if anybody has ever seen a non-square farming sim map. There may be a couple of them out there. I'm just not aware of which ones they are, where you can find them. But I think in theory, you should be able to have a non-square farming sim map so long as it's still in the dimensions of 2 to the power of something per side. So, for example, I mean, if you had 2 on a side, that's 2 to the 1, and you had 1,024 meters on another side, you'd have this super long, skinny, narrow map. But I don't know what the game engine would do with a map like that. And obviously, you would never make it just 2 pixels wide. I mean, that would be ridiculous. You couldn't fit any equipment on it or anything like that. But presumably, and maybe someone out there is giving it a try, presumably the game engine would still be able to work with it. You know, I have another series on an app called Peace River, and I know they did some gymnastics to kind of make it a larger map than even a 16x. But I think it's still kind of square-shaped. Anyway, like I say, if anybody's aware of a non-square-shaped farming sim map, I'd be curious to check it out. But probably for the sake of playability, it's a good thing that they're square, because I think you have the most area that you could get. You know, if you make it a rectangle shape, you're kind of giving up your area, if you will, your play area. But if someone was more interested in trucking versus the farming, that could potentially give a long, skinny map to put a road on. But I don't know. I mean, the road wouldn't go anywhere really except straight, depending on how skinny it was. And who knows, you know, like the game of ATS, I've kind of wondered what their model is. The times I've played that game, you go for quite a distance driving a truck. You know what? I think it came down the wrong road. But anyway, that's okay. I'll still get there. I'm not paying attention when I'm talking. But that game there, it seems like you're on a road for a long time, and the roads aren't all 100% straight. But I've just kind of wondered what model they use to get so much area for a truck to drive, and it seems like it's all seamless. You know, you don't reach a spot when you're driving where it says, you know, whoops, we need to pause here and load more of the map or something for you to continue on. It's pretty seamless. So probably just a totally different game engine. I wouldn't know about all that stuff than what we have in here, which is more adept to the square maps. You know, we can see I kind of started this off talking about the viewing circle, which we can see out ahead of us. I don't have that strong of a computer, but I've been willing to sacrifice a lot of frames per second just to have a better looking situation to look at, and I would rather see a little further. And you can see the viewing circle kind of creep up the hill in the snow. I'd rather see more foliage versus distance, so I bumped it up to the 120, I believe, but it's still hardly enough. Just getting ready to go over the river here. I still wonder if I need a better ice texture. I suppose it'll work as ice. It's just, yeah, it just looks kind of hokey. You know, you can find a new texture, and previously I don't think this map had ice on the rivers. I put that on there. The Seasons mod came with some wonderful versatility to where when there's snow or at certain times a year, or when the ground is frozen, that you could force certain things to happen, mainly to, you know, for some objects to appear or disappear. And when the ground is frozen, you can make certain objects appear, namely an ice sheet over the river. So that's kind of what I did. It was painstaking work, basically duplicating the water plane, but putting in a special ice sheet that would appear over the top of all the rivers. But it's just hard to tell sometimes that when you put a texture on something, just what it's going to look like in game. It can appear one way, you know, when you look at it inside of Paint.net or some other picture type viewer, and it may look totally different as to how you eventually see it in game. And I really have never been able to figure that out. I'm sure those that make 3D models and they know how the textures fit over the model, I'm sure they have all that figured out. I don't. So a lot of it is just hit and miss and guess. And so I'm probably at some point going to maybe get a different ice sheet, and hopefully it'll work a little bit better. Finally getting up to the top of the map, and you know, this is the second day of spring. The last episode we kind of ended in the dark. I know there was some rain overnight. I'm not sure. It took down a layer. Maybe it took a layer off of the snow. Yeah, I'm starting to see some exposed areas, so maybe the silly stuff is finally starting to melt. It's kind of, you know, when you get a big blanket of snow over the winter, it's kind of frustrating when it sticks around into the spring, and there's field work to do and some of those kinds of things. Well, so that's all cleared off. So where I need to get kind of up in this area up here to deliver the load here for the fabric and take it to the cellar. It might even be up this area right here. I just don't remember exactly, which probably makes it all the better that I haven't stretched a course play to do this. So in the future, I can just send him on his merry way and he'll find his way up here. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just come up behind my sheep up here, and we'll see actually how much wool is there. I kind of think I need to take another load down there. Something I can do here in the spring while I'm waiting to get out into the fields and start messing with the crops. I think I have just one more field to plant. Oh boy. I'm gonna hardly be able to get through there. I've got a few more pallets over there. The trouble is when I blew all the snow, it kind of made these piles, and now I can't really see where to go. And I'm not getting through there in any case on this beast. So I think I need to head back down to where we left our tractor and continue it on its way home. And I think maybe what I'll do here is a jump cut so you don't have to suffer through watching me drive the same route again. I'll be back in just a moment. Well, folks, here we are. We made it to our truck, and I'm not even sure how long that took. You can probably do the math. I'll notice later when I do the actual jump cut. Now I've got to remember how to do this silly thing. I probably want to kick it over to the right and just smooth out a place where I can drive my truck through, and it's going to be kind of painful because I have some snow piled up here. Let me get it going so we can shoot it out of the pipe and get ourselves going up the road here. I'm going to have to pay attention to the dirt part of the road. I just don't know how far up here it turns over. I'm burying a fence over there. I do see probably another field marker up here, so that's got to be an edge of a field coming up close here. Yeah, I see some green. I'm just not 100% sure. Yeah, that looks like plowed area. Oh, goodness. That probably goes straight up to the field. Maybe I'm not even on the right. Yeah, I obviously can't drive. I'm going to probably be speeding this up later, just so I can get up to the area where the wool is sold. And so I will see. Oh yes, there's the asphalt. So I'm going to try to follow this alongside up where the road goes. And you see this here, it's picking it up in little bits. And I think I know why that is in the coating. And I won't bore, well, maybe I will bore everybody a little bit. May as well, haven't reached the end of this. In the Lua coating, there is two areas where it makes things happen with each frame of the game, if you will. Each frame, you know, right now I don't even have that high of FPS. Oh, well, I guess it is 60. So every frame, you know, that is just happening 60 frames per second. So 60 times a second, there's a certain Lua code, if you will, that triggers every frame. And then there's another one that is triggered partially as the frames go by. And one is called update and the other is called update tick. And I think it's the update tick that is the slower of the two. And so update tick is where it's grabbing all this snow to fling it out. If it was in update, it would grab it a whole lot quicker and fling it off to the side. But since it's an update tick, we have to, it goes just a little bit slower, so I can't quite drive as fast as I would like to fling the snow off. But like I say, probably not something anybody cares about. And shoot, am I going down the right road or the wrong one? Help! Where is the wool? Alright, we're going to consult our map here and see if we can find it. I know it's up here. Straw sail, that's the sheep pasture. I wonder if this is... Aha. We are heading off into the Tulies. Okay, where I probably really need to go is down over here to go find this. So, you know what? Let me do another jump cut here, and I'll get us back on track. Well, folks, I think this is about the end of it. I've kind of cleared a path over here to get to the sell point for, I believe you could probably sell wool up here, but I believe I put another trigger up in here where you can sell also the fabric. So we park the truck for the fabric clear over at the sheep farm, which is kind of over across the way somewhere over in here, I believe. So now we have a way to get over here with the truck, kind of a kind of a route that we had to just plow our way through, and I don't think the people in town here are going to be happy with us one bit. We took this guy's tables and we frankly buried them, but I doubt whether he has anybody dining outside at this time of year. So I think we've pretty much done the work, and I will sell the fabric, off cam now that we have this handy path to come through here. There's maybe a little more plowing and snow blowing work we could do. I gotta say, it's pretty satisfying to clear the things out of the way, even though it takes a ton of time. But thank you so much for stopping by to watch a little bit of this with me. You have yourself a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.